Oh, that feeling you get when the car is sparkling clean because you just washed it, dried it. It is absolutely spotless, and this is what Monster looks like after 10,000 miles. That's right, I just crossed 10,000 miles on my 21 Tesla Model 3 Performance. And so in today's video, I'm going to share with you kind of how much money I've spent on it, how much money I've actually saved on it, my overall experience after crossing 10,000 miles with my 21 Tesla Model 3 Performance. Let's go ahead and dive into it. All right guys, welcome back. So right off the bat, I'm sure the first question many of you have is probably how much money have I spent on charging and how much money have I saved on not having to put gas in my car, because this is an EV for those of you that might not know. So I'm gonna take a look at some of my notes here and use this as a cheat sheet. So if I do the math, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compare it to what I would typically drive, which would have been my 2007 Infiniti QX56, which averages about 10-12 miles per gallon. I know, it's absolutely terrible. So if I didn't have this car, I would actually be driving my my truck. So if I take 10,000 miles that I've driven on this car and divide it by, being a little generous, 12 miles per gallon, that would put me at 833 gallons of gasoline. So if I take 833 gallons, multiply that by an average cost of $3.50 per gallon, that comes out to about $2,916 that I saved in not having to put gas in my car because this is an EV. Now, how much money did I actually spend on charging my car? So there's an app called OptiWatt. I'll go ahead and link it in my description. If you haven't downloaded it, go check it out. You basically link it to your electric company and it tells you kind of what the charging rate is, and it calculates, it's actually connected to your Tesla app. So it actually calculates how many miles you have, how long you charge it for. A ton of information is available there, but that's what I use to calculate how much I've actually spent on charging. And so overall, total charge, you guys will be just blown away by this, is $301. It cost me $301 to drive my car 10,000 miles. So that is, if you do the math, which by the way, I am absolutely terrible at, is a savings of $2,615 after, of course, gas, which I didn't buy, and how much I spent on charging this. So $2,600 is what I saved overall in the 10,000 miles that I've driven on my Model 3 versus my Infiniti QX56. Now, for those of you that might not have as big of a truck, you can go ahead and do the math yourself based on how many miles per gallon you average on your car. It might be more, it might be less, but for me, because it's a bigger SUV, again, averaged 10 to 12 miles per gallon. I was generous, I used 12 miles per gallon, and that's the calculation I have as far as how much money I've spent on gas, how much money I've actually saved driving my Model 3. Okay, now that you know how much money I spent and how much money I saved, let's go ahead and talk about how much money I've spent on my car outside of charging. So for those of you that have been following me, which if you are not, this would be a great time to go hit the subscribe button and also the thumbs up button. But I recently added some winter tires to my Model 3. Now, if those of you that might not have the performance model, you've got the long range or standard range, they actually come with all-season tires, but the performance one only comes with summer tires. So because of the whole supply chain shortage and things not being in stock, I actually wasn't able to even purchase all-season tires, which I'm glad that I actually bought the winter tires. So I took the summer tires off, I put the winter tires on. Those did cost me about $1,400, $1,400 and some change. I think it was like $1,450 or something. But I did a whole separate video on that. I'll go ahead and card it here or here. I always forget which side it comes on, but you'll see the card pop up. So go check out that video if you want to know a bit more information about the tires. But those did cost me over $1,400. So that is an extra expense that I put in to change my tires. Now, outside of the tires, what else have I spent money on? Well, tire rotation. So even though I had the summer tires on before, that's something that most cars have to get tire rotation done on anyways. But with Tesla, it's $50 and they actually come out to your house. They send a technician out and they actually do it right in your driveway or garage or wherever you have your car parked. So I had that done 2 separate times. Because again, I just crossed 10,000 miles. It's recommended that you do it every 4,000 to 6,000 miles. I did it every 4,000 miles, so I had that done twice. So that is $100 that I spent on tire rotation. Outside of that, that is the only expense that I've had on my Model 3 as far as maintenance goes. Now, other things that I've done, accessorizing, of course, that is not needed, but that's something that I chose to do. I've spent some money on that, and of course, I've got a ton of videos on my channel on what accessories I have. In fact, I actually have a video on like the top 10 accessories you should have for your Tesla, so go check out that video if you want to. But that's, again, not something that I absolutely had to do. That's something that I chose to do. So outside of tire rotations and a full swap for my winter tires, I haven't spent any other money on maintaining my car. Where if I had this beast or any other ICE car, I probably would have spent more money on oil changes, maybe some repairs, who knows. But with this car so far, knock on wood, that's the only expense I've had. Now, let's talk about service. Luckily, because this is a brand new car that I purchased, there were some things that needed some attention, which I'll just kind of quickly go over with you here now. So one of the things that needed to be done was my spoiler had become loose a few times where I had to get that done. So I did have to call Tesla service. They again came out one time to actually no, the spoiler I had to take in. I apologize. The spoiler, they did not send a technician out. I had to take it to the Tesla service center, which of course was covered under their normal maintenance or whatever you want to call it. So I didn't have to pay anything for that, which was nice. The other thing that I had to get done was my charge port. Again, I have a video on this, but this charge port was popping out a little bit compared to how it should be really flush, but now it is fully flushed. So again, no extra cost for me there, but just something that I had to get fixed from Tesla. Outside of that, I really haven't had any other major issues or things that I needed to get service on. So everything else looked good. All right, let's talk a little bit about what most people are fearful of are the seats. So yes, I do have the white interior in here, and if you're wondering how have this held up so far, I normally have my youngest daughter in here, so that's her car seat. There's really no complaints, I guess I can say, about the seats, outside of a couple areas that I've seen some coloring. So let me show you. If I take a look at the seat belt there, let me see if my camera will pick up on that. You guys see the coloring there? So this is just from the seat belt rubbing back and forth. I've tried to clean this with just the wipes, the baby wipes that I have, that I clean the car seats with, but it doesn't seem to come off. So at some point, I probably will take it to Tesla and have them clean that off. I am assuming it's gonna come off pretty easy, but that is the only wear that I've had on the seats themselves. Let me go ahead and show you the driver's seat just so you can see that car seat, since that's the seat that is used the most often since I sit in it. Ugh, it is windy. Got a little bit of coloring here. That's from me wearing jeans. That comes off. I just have not cleaned that yet, but with wipes that comes right off. Not a big issue. The rest of it you guys can see here pretty well. I don't have any wear, tear, or any other coloring or any other issues with my car seat. So if you are wondering if you should get the white seats or not, I would highly recommend it because they're actually a little bit higher quality than the standard black seats. Very easy to clean and they hold up extremely well. All right, there's a lot of wind here, so I'm gonna go inside and talk to you guys about the rest of it here. All right, now that I'm inside, let me go ahead and go through the couple items that are left to talk about. So I talked about the tires, I talked about the seats, I talked about the charging, and how much I've saved on not having to put gas in my car. The other thing I will say is, I guess an option to some, but probably a necessity for others, is the car wash. So for those of you that might not know, Tesla actually does not recommend that you take it to an automatic car wash, meaning the one that has like the crazy brushes and the things like that. Do not take your car there because it will mess up the paint. And that's why I say an option for some, because some people, number one, don't know, and some people that do know, they don't really care. But generally speaking, I think people that have Teslas are a little bit more cautious about their car because we all have a passion for our car. So you're not taking it to a normal car wash. So you have to take it to a touchless car wash so that way your paint actually doesn't get scratched up and all crazy and weird and things like that. So For me, the car wash that I go to generally charges about $15 per car wash, or you can do like a monthly subscription. So for me, I wash it on a weekly basis. So because it's winter here in Illinois, I'm not going to be able to wash my car like I typically do in my garage. So that is an added expense. I guess, again, similar to what you would probably pay for any other car wash, maybe a little bit less if you have to just go through a normal car wash, but because it's touchless, it's a little bit more expensive. So about $15 per car wash is what I pay in the winter if I want to get my car washed. If I'm doing it myself, of course, I'm doing it myself. I just pay for the products, but think about it as $15 a week minimum if you're gonna get your car washed once a week. 15 times 4 is $60. And yeah, that's $60 a month that you would be paying for if you want to go to a touchless car wash. And again, those rates might vary depending on where you're at, but where I'm at right now, that's what it costs to wash my car. All right, moving on. Let's do the final math here. So I talked about saving $2,615 overall in savings. I spent another $1,450 on my tires, so 26. I gotta do the math here. 2615 minus 1450 comes out to $1,165 is basically what I've saved by owning a Tesla, not having to do the normal services that I would in a normal car, and still having a heck of a time driving a beast of a car that I absolutely love. And I would not trade this in for the world. And I don't ever see myself going back to a normal car. And I think 99% of Tesla drivers will probably say the same. But yeah, that's my opinion. You're saving a ton of money. It's good for the environment. You're having a good time driving it. So why wouldn't you? So if you can afford one, I would highly encourage that you go out and purchase an EV, whether it's a Tesla or not. Of course, I would recommend a Tesla. But if you want to buy another car, there's a ton of other options available. So go check it out, save the environment, save money in your wallet, have a good time. And that's all I've got planned for today. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.